Good morning. It is 8:14 a.m. Phoenix or Arizona time. I guess not technically Phoenix to Tucson. In any case, close to the Grand Canyon time. 8:14 a.m. on Thursday, October 28th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, uh, arrived yesterday. We flew into Phoenix, and then it was like a 3.5 hour drive to the area around the Grand Canyon South Rim where we'll be staying. And we're all checked in at the hotel. That's where I am right now. I went out to find a quiet spot outside the room so as to not disturb my roommates. And it was actually harder than I expected because there's one big area that would work, except it has a great big fountain and a very loud air conditioner in that area. So I started wandering up to around where the meeting rooms are, only to discover that the closer you get to those, they start having speakers in the ceiling playing music. So I got kind of a halfway point in between. In any case, yeah, just blank wall, but I'm just kind of in a hallway right now. So yesterday we arrived and got in town to check into our hotel mid-afternoon, and then we decided, you know what? Hey, let's we don't have a lot of time today, but let's go in and just go to the closest part of the Grand Canyon to kind of check it out and see the sunset. Although technically speaking, at this part of the Grand Canyon, when you're looking out over the rim of the canyon, the sun is actually setting over your shoulder, so it's not, like the idea of seeing it at sunset isn't as big a deal as you'd think. But here's the thing. Boy, they aren't kidding about the Grand Canyon. I mean, here's the thing. If you'd asked me before I saw it, like, I would say, well, I have certainly heard people talk about how impressive it is. I've seen pictures, and the pictures look impressive. And I also know firsthand, having been to various impressive landscape features, that pictures often don't do it justice. And when you're actually there, it's far more impressive than the pictures show. And so I expect that I will be very impressed by it. And, all in a very rational way. But boy, then you get there and you walk up to the rim, and at least the part where we were, big, big metal railings. So you're not like towing over the edge or anything. But wow, it's it just takes words away. You know, it's awesome in the classic sense, awe-inspiring. It's really great. Took some pictures yesterday, and although there was just the one that I posted on social media as kind of a joking selfie, a lot of the pictures didn't come out great, partly because just like the light wasn't the best, because it was, when we first got there before the sun actually went down, you had is like the very top layers just glowing and everything else looking very dark in comparison. It's hard to get a good picture there. And then after that, everything's dark, and at least you don't have the washing out effect. But I expect we'll get some better pictures today. But in any case, yeah, it's kind of a joke when you say you go to the Grand Canyon, you spend a couple of days there, and you say, well, but what do you do at the Grand Canyon? It's like, well, you look at it, and then you go over there a little bit, and you look at it from there, and then you go over there, and you look at it from there, and then maybe you take a little hike, and you hike down a little trail for a couple of hours, and then you look at it from there. But the thing is, yeah, you want to. It's cool. It's very neat. Just I think part of what struck me in a way that I wasn't expecting is not merely just how vertical everything is, just like the impressive depth of everything, in addition to being broad, of course, but also just the complexity of the shapes, of just how it's not, you know, the image I had in my head was silly in hindsight, even having seen some pictures. But It's very cool, and I'm excited to go back and see it some more today. And in fact, our plan is that later this morning we're going to go on a helicopter ride. So I'm expecting that to be fun. Um, oh, one other thing that I'll warn people, because I had no idea about this, is the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Even like up on the rim of the canyon, not, well, obviously, I guess in a moment, it's very high elevation, or relatively. It's 7,000 feet, which is pretty high if you're not used to it. If you're coming from sea level, and I grew up in Colorado, which is a relatively high elevation, and so 7,000 feet isn't as high as I've been in my life. Um, when we used to go up into Estes Park or to go skiing, pretty much anywhere was higher than that. But it was higher than the place I grew up is, and certainly it's higher than the place I live now. And the truth is that even that you can get acclimatized to higher altitude, but you also can lose that acclimatization pretty fast. So the fact that I grew up in Colorado really has no bearing on it. The fact is that I'm coming from, sea level, and I have suffered some effects of altitude. I woke up with a pretty significant headache this morning. Starting to feel a little better. Took some ibuprofen, but yeah. So just like if you're going to the Grand Canyon for the first time and you're not aware that you're dealing with altitude, you should perhaps take that into consideration when making plans for how much hiking you're going to do and stuff like that. So, because I had no idea that the elevation was so high. But yeah, it's very cool, and I'm excited to see it some more. But in the meantime, I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.